Sunshine State right now. Hello and welcome here to PM Edition. I'm Jennifer Lopez.
And I'm Carl Parker. It's going to be a very long night from Palm Beach to Miami as gusty rains come down for hours. Here is what we know right now. The storm is now just 10 miles east-southeast of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Some of those bands beginning to move on in. That outer eye wall now beginning to move in. Winds have recently gusted to 68 miles an hour in Fort Lauderdale. We have numerous 10-foot trees down at West Fork Shopping Center near Dykes Road and Pines Boulevard. That's at Pembroke Pines with 64-mile-an-hour winds there. So a lot going on here tonight. It is only going to get worse in the next few hours.
We can be looking for the heaviest rain to continue to come across the southern half of the state. That'll be through the night, through the day tomorrow, then pushing off into the Gulf of Mexico and then moving northward. We're certainly going to be tracking this storm through the weekend. It's going to be bringing some rain throughout much of the Sunshine State for the next 48 hours at least.
Yeah, and we have team coverage for you tonight. Meteorologist Mike Bettis is seeing winds up to 60 miles an hour in Palm Beach, Florida.
And let's talk to Mike again. Again, Mike, very windy there. But what kind of damage are you seeing around Palm Beach, or have you heard throughout Palm Beach County?
We really haven't had any reports of significant damage whatsoever in Palm Beach County. That's very good news. We have seen, palm fronds and pieces of just light debris that have been flying around, but nothing significant at this point, and I want to make that very clear that we don't have a whole lot of structural damage. That's very good news. And we actually haven't had that much rain either. The rain, once the wind really started picking up a couple of hours ago, the rain really let up. So that's kind of been a saving grace for us here through the afternoon. Let's show you exactly what's happening with this storm on Sky Tracker radar and give you a good indication of where the center of that storm is. Making landfall just south of us, generally right around where Jim Cantore is in Fort Lauderdale and toward Pompano Beach as well. We're north of that, and we've been getting fairly steady winds out of the northwest for the past several hours. As far as the wind goes, what we've measured here right at the beach, right around 55 miles an hour, sustained between 35 and 40 miles an hour for the past 2 hours or so. This is an area that is very heavily populated, right along the I-95 corridor. 5 million people live between this area and down in South Florida in Miami. Heavily populated with high property value, so we're always concerned when we have a landfalling hurricane here in South Florida. We're always concerned about property damage. At this point in West Palm, we're looking good on that end. One thing we'll definitely follow with more rain that is anticipated is the threat for flooding, and we'll see what kind of damage occurs with the flooding and how that affects travel as well. But as of right now, no reports of flooding and no reports of any significant damage to buildings across the area, Jennifer. So on all of those fronts, very good news. But as far as the winds go, the strongest winds that we have seen so far are occurring for us right now. We'll send it back to you in the Weather Channel studios.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Blowing and going there in South Florida, and there's going to be a lot more where that came from. The wind's now 75 miles an hour officially. The winds have gusted to nearly hurricane force now in southeast Florida. It is moving towards the west at 6 miles an hour, and the center of this storm is now very, very close to the coast, 10 miles to the east-southeast of Fort Lauderdale, now working a little bit more towards the south of west, maybe west-southwest at this point. You can see how it dropped just a little bit there. So again, the worst of the weather here in this northern eye wall is going to be coming onshore very close to Fort Lauderdale. It is going to be very bad indeed in Fort Lauderdale with that wind coming on board. But notice that it's moving very, very slowly, and that's important too, because with that slow movement, we're going to see a lot of rain in South Florida tonight, very heavy rain, and there certainly could be flooding. You do want to watch out for that. Let's talk about the wind gusts here. Again, we saw a 68-mile-an-hour wind gust in Fort Lauderdale. Damage has been reported in Broward County. There will be more damage tonight. The good news is we don't think there will be much in the way of additional strengthening, so it's not going to get much stronger than a Category 1 hurricane, if at all stronger. That's certainly good, but again, there's going to be a lot of rain tonight as this thing only very slowly makes its way towards the west-southwest and across the southern part of the state. Well, we have some other weather to tell you about, and with more on that, here's Jennifer.
Yeah.
An interesting feature here, Carl, and it's helping control which way the system's moving, which is west right now. But here it is down here. But notice this big ridge of high pressure in the upper atmosphere. It's coming around here with the air and sinking on the north side of the circulation. And that's good news for those of you in Central and North Florida, because look what's happening to the rain on the north side of the system. It was way up here. It's shrinking to the south. And now we've got rain basically near the circulation center and all to the south. So it looks like basically south of Lake Okeechobee is primarily the area for heavy rain overnight as the system moves to the west. Nothing to the north. We hope that continues, and we think it probably will. So the heavy rain will be near the circulation center and to the south, including the Florida Keys. But to the north, that sinking dry air is going to keep it relatively dry, we think. In the meantime, the thing is making landfall near Fort Lauderdale tonight. Still some heavy rain bands coming in. You can see circulation starting to get a little less organized as it moves inland because of the land area, but there's still a strong band of heavy rain right there in Miami. You're getting smoked with some very strong winds and some strong rain right now. And those winds are gusting, and they could cause some power outages there over the next few hours. Now, here's the primary impact from wind, we think, other than some minor damage from wind. Numerous power outages possible right here along the coast, including northern Miami, Fort Lauderdale area up to Boca Raton. Power outages likely a little bit farther inland and north and south, and then as it spreads inland, power outages are possible over the next few hours as it continues to move to the west at about 6 or 7 miles per hour. Where it goes from there, we think, is across Florida. Not a long trajectory, but it will weaken to a tropical storm as it does so, come out off the coast as a storm, reemerge, and have a chance to come back as a hurricane. And we think it could be a hurricane making landfall somewhere in the Florida Panhandle there in about 60 hours or so. That would be sometime early Monday morning. The timing on this is still uncertain. The remainder of the tropical Atlantic is quiet, so let's get back to Carl and Jennifer.
Well, we are not the only ones feeling the impacts of a tropical system.
Half a world away, a typhoon is whipping up wave.